Welcome to the Not Nerd Show. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Well, hello there, my friend.
Hello.
Long time no see. It's been a week or so.
It has been. It has been. Oh, but man, we've got some exciting stuff to talk about. We're getting more eyeballs now that we've been live streaming for a while, and people are seeing. I'm not growing more eyeballs, but
I see.
We're going to play around with some things. And this week, today is day number 26 that the Apple Vision Pro's been available. So we're going to just kind of take a look at what we're thinking, what other people thinking, what's happening in the world of AVP, as we call it in the biz.
Well, and let me interject here. I also want to welcome all of our new viewers/listeners because I posted on 2 Mastodon accounts, a Facebook account, and on X. So I'm expecting our viewership to double from 2 or 3 to maybe 5 or 6.
They will be flooding in any moment. Then we've got all the regular tech news and stuff. If you haven't heard, Google's Gemini did not have a good week this week, so we'll talk about that and some other fun. But before we get to that, Dave,
what do we got here?
You're going to be surprised. I'm wearing a trucker hat this week. And
That's
it's backwards.
Different.
And producer Todd is in the chat and said, "Stop trying to make Mastodon happen."
Oh, it's happening, Todd. It's happening.
Any day now. Any day now. But we've got the hat. It has got a nice royal blue back on there.
Yeah. What is this?
The red bill.
Some high school? What is it?
And
oh,
what
you
do
got
we
to
got?
focus here. Hold on,
let me back up a little bit. It's
National Healthcare and Hospital Supply Corporation, NHHS.
Yes.
Nice.
Corporation. Yeah,
where did you find that bad boy?
No idea. I'm guessing Value Village, but
Nate.
I don't think I ever visited the National Healthcare and Hospital Supply Corporation.
I think for each hat that you show, you need to have a story. We need to know the genesis of all these hats.
Yes. Some of them do. Some of them, it's been so long. I mean, I started collecting them in the
70s?
I had some in the 80s because the 80s is when they were really a thing. And then I know in high school is when I started collecting, and then I've had some ups and downs in amount purchased. Lately, it's been a very up, but more on that later.
Well, if
more
nothing,
on that later.
You're consistent.
Yes, this is true. Well, Apple Vision Pro. I have had mine. Today is day 26 of owning the Apple Vision Pro, and we're almost 2 weeks past the return date. Of when I would have been able to return it.
I can still buy it for half if you need me to.
Yes. And I was doing some math because people think there's been about 200,000 of them sold. So if you calculate the world's population at 8 billion, we'll say, for nice round numbers, I am 1 in 40,000. Every 1 in 40,000 people on Earth has
Is that right?
Apple Vision
that seems like
Pro.
too many.
It does seem high, but Apple's calculator doesn't lie, and I did letter in math in high school.
Hold on. I know you lettered in math, but you typed in 8 billion with a B, correct?
Billion. I still have it on my screen. There's 1 comma, 2 comma, 3 comma, divided by 2,000. 1 in 40,000. And it's only technically available in the U.S., so it would be, whatever. But I was just thinking... And what made me think of this originally, last week when I went to Social Media Marketing World in San Diego, I took a flight, and on the way there, I was wearing it, but every time the flight attendant came by, I kind of lifted it up to make sure she knew what was going on. And then eventually she's like, "Which one is it? I'm thinking about getting one of those. That's the first time I've seen one of those." So I was talking back and forth, and she's like, "Well, I use an Android phone." And I was like, "Well, you're out of luck there unless you want to get an iPhone." But I was the only one either direction in the airport or on the plane that I saw wearing the AVP.
Well, there probably weren't more than 40,000 people in that area at that time, so you're the one.
Yes.
You're the
Yeah,
one.
I was the one. And I was thinking about it with like Apple devices. What they say there's a billion active devices.
A
So
billion phones in your pockets, y'all.
that'd be a device for every 1 in 8 people to give you a little perspective. If
Hmm.
population of Earth, I believe are we at eight
I think
billion
it's
yet?
7.4 billion. Is that right? Or am I? It might be less than that.
7.888 billion. So that was 2021. So
I
as
heard a
long
weird
as it's
noise from
still
behind
going
me.
up,
I don't know if it's
is
somebody coming
there?
to
Do
try to
we
sell
have a
me
special guest?
a Vision Pro.
Todd, is that you? Um,
My garage might be haunted.
nice,
Exciting.
nice. Uh, but my experience with it and my
Mm-hmm.
take on the Apple Vision Pro,
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I do not need it, but any day that I think
Just like
there's
my
been
children.
yes,
I love them,
yes.
but I don't need them
I
for
don't need them.
anything.
I think since I've had it, there's been 2 days that I have not used it at all, and those were both when I was in San Diego because I was just so busy. I did use it there one of the nights, or two of the nights, but I use it every day. And Dave, you and I were doing some math on it, and I figure if I keep this one for 2 years, or if they happen to come out with a new one next year, so I only have it for a year and sell it for like half price. We're looking at about a $5 a day. So basically a Starbucks
Yeah,
uh,
which is a little
payment.
high for a tech product,
Yes.
but for what it does, and of course the potential of what it does,
Yes.
it's probably worth it. We've got a little
Yes.
action here on the driveway cam. I
Oh,
didn't want
driveway
to,
cam?
just a car driving by. Nothing
Nice.
fancy.
But yeah, and people are, well, what do you do on it? And I was thinking about I went into it without a lot of expectation. I mean, really, a lot of my VR experience before the AVP was one of these bad
Oh,
boys,
yuck.
the Google
Google
Cardboard.
Cardboard.
But like I'd use yours and stuff, but I use it today. I was working at my desk most of the day. I wore it most of the day, so probably 6, 7 hours sitting at my desk with my laptop, using it as a 120-inch screen for my computer, and then having a YouTube video in the Juno app playing above it.
Hmm.
Then in the evenings, after the girls go to bed, I'll be sitting in the living room. I put that on. Like, I have that free Tele TV.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still going to do that video. They just had a big software update, so I wanted to wait for that because
Now
I knew
with
it was coming.
100% more ads.
Yes, but I really like if I was single, I would not have a TV. I would
Mm.
just wear the Apple Vision Pro. Like it's so much better
What about when
than
friends come
having a
over? I guess
television.
you wouldn't have friends when you're single.
Well, yeah, yeah, we'd go somewhere else. I would only have friends that had their own Apple Vision
That's true.
Pros. That's if I was single. Let's start dreaming about this. But yeah, that's most of what I use
Let me
it
take
for. I mean,
notes.
I've tried out a bunch of the apps and stuff, but um, and the battery life, that's something I, whenever I'm sitting down, I plug it in so that it always stays charged. There's a couple times when I've gotten low battery, but the way home from San Diego, I used it for probably 2.5 hours and didn't even get a battery warning on it without
Hmm.
charging it at all.
Chris Kent
Um,
says that
so,
he's still waiting for his telly.
I actually heard I was watching what's Marquez Brownlee's Waveform podcast,
Waveform.
and one of the guys that works for him at MKBHD, one of the biggest tech channels, is like, "Yeah, I'm still waiting on my Tele TV." So how I got one, I am not sure, but
You
that
were
video will come
quick on the
soon.
click. As
Well, the thing, the funny thing is, peek behind the curtain. I was like, "Oh yeah, I already signed up for it." Well, when I went back, I realized I never finished my sign up, so
mm,
it was like 2 weeks later before I actually before I signed in. And Dave in our live chat. Oh man, good stuff. But yeah, that's kind of my experience. My wife and daughter still have not tried it. I have offered many times. I
hmm,
traveled with friend of the show Wes,
yeah.
and as we were waiting for our flight home, I was giving him a demo, letting him see what I could see in the iPad. And then I was kind of ready to pass it over to him, and he's like, "Ah, I kind of want to get ready for the flight." So Wes, I'm telling you, if you want to do the demo, I'm not holding back from you.
Yeah.
But and
And
I haven't really. I'm trying. My brothers have tried it, but it's
Chris
an
has also
interesting product.
said that you have that TV probably because of the massive
Yes. Well,
popularity of
yes.
this
Yes.
podcast.
Yes. Much more popular than the Waveform podcast with
Yes.
their 26 million subscribers or whatever he has on
And
there.
they have a whole like production crew and all
Yes,
these guys.
warehouse and
Yeah.
facility and yeah, didn't
We have
MK
dial up.
MKBHD meets with Tim Cook and stuff.
Yeah.
Same
Same
level
level.
there.
We
But
well, I mean, we've got Chris Kent in our live
yeah,
chat,
and
so
we've got producer Todd,
true.
and our live stream seems to be working better these days. But Dave, what's the state of Dave
Yeah.
on the AVP?
So I love the AVP, Alien versus Predators, or Apple Vision Pro. Sorry, I messed up my initials.
Oh, and Wes has joined us, and
Oh,
I don't know, Wes, why we didn't try it on the plane because we ended up sitting next to each other. But
well, you're
sorry,
being
Wes,
stingy,
we'll
of
do it
course.
soon. Yes.
Bunch of nerds. All right, so my experience coming from having used a black and white MetaQuest 2, black and white pass through, I will
Yes.
say. The content is in color. And then briefly putting a dank old trial version of the Quest 3 on my face so I could see color pass through. The Vision Pro is definitely an upgrade, but I keep struggling with is it worth the money upgrade? Now, you were dreaming, well, I was dreaming while you were discussing about working on your headset all day. I can project my computer screen and have multiple screens working. I've done it.
Yeah.
However, it's a little clunky in trying to get to my computer and to my mouse. And if I'm like in my chair trying to work on my laptop, it's not that great of experience. And then I think, well, I want to do a text message. There's no iMessage in there. Or I want to
On the Quest 2,
on
you're
the
saying.
Quest. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so going outside of a web browser is where the challenge hits. Now I can do things. Well, let me take that back. I can do things on my computer screen. So of course I could bring up messages on my computer. And so I guess if I'm attached to my computer and working, it's fine. But if I'm not attached to my computer, I just have web browsers.
Yeah.
And then what do I do just with web browsers? So it's not as slick. Now I have been able to go to iCloud.com on my Quest and look at
Oh.
my photos and my mail, which I don't use that mail program. so, so everything that goes to iCloud. And so you can get it done, but it has never been a better experience than just using my laptop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for content consumption, it's great. For like doing work, it's really clunky. That's why the Vision Pro, I think, by contrast, it could be my monitor, it could be my text message, it could be my photos. I could look at content. I could do because I can run all those apps. I mean, I
Yeah.
could have the weather up there going. I mean, I guess I could open up a window on my Quest and go to weather.com, but it's like it's not the same. So that we have a couple comments here.
Oh,
You want to
yes.
go through those?
Yes. Uh, yes, Chris had said, but they are a bunch of nerds. And Wes said, never ending radical dudes for nerd. And then
Correct.
producer Todd says, now I picture Wes sitting next to you on the plane, waiting patiently and excitedly, just hoping Nate would offer him to try the AVP, and Nate never does. And Wes says,
Just a minute.
that's exactly how it went. It was awkward.
Hey, can I
Yes.
just a minute? There's a dinosaur I'm petting or something. Oh, could I just? Oh no, there's a butterfly coming
Uh,
for two
yes.
hours.
I don't travel often enough that I get a little frazzled.
Yeah.
Yes, I was in AVP land on the
Did
plane,
you even
and
notice that
man, it
Wes
was
was
amazing.
beside you?
I didn't. But I mean, I was watching a 120-inch movie on the plane. But when the flight attendant came up, I grabbed my drink and was able to see everything. I don't like the immersive experiences. It's much like with my AirPods. I
Mm.
usually only wear one because I like to be aware of my surroundings. Although Isla has mastered the Vision Pro blind spots and it has gotten really good at scaring me. She came in this morning and just whacked me with a pillow as I
Oh
was
man.
just
That's awesome.
zoning out in
Yeah, I
AVP.
think the full color pass through that's very lifelike is one of the biggest selling points for the Vision
Yes.
Pro because you
Yeah.
can just be in the world that's augmented
Yeah.
and wash your dishes and cook your meal and do whatever. Again, with the Quest, it's possible, but it's not as good of an experience.
Yes. Yes. Well, yeah. And I mean, really, it kind of boils down to my common theory I give people on buying the newest iPhone. It's like, well, if it's gonna make you miss a mortgage payment or your kids aren't gonna
Hmm.
eat, it's probably not for
No,
you.
do not
And
buy that.
I when did we learn about it? June of last year. So I started putting a little bit away and then looked at it and got the 12 months interest-free financing. And I'm like, okay,
Nice.
you know what? I can still pay the mortgage. My daughter can still eat. Luckily, she doesn't eat much,
I was looking for a
mostly
$20
rice.
bill. That was going to be what I've saved so far.
Yes, you're almost there.
I can't find it
Uh,
though. It's the only one.
Oops. Uh-oh. Stop the podcast. He lost a $20 bill.
No, it's up and
Uh,
it's too far to reach.
Too far to reach, but yes. So, and besides just our perspectives, because
Hmm.
that's only worth so much, there have been some other stories because, right when it came out, it was getting a lot of press. Oh, one other thing, a guy that I work with, he makes awesome hammers, and he FaceTimed me this morning, and I had the Vision Pro
Oh.
on, and I was like, oh, I'm going to talk to him in my persona, and he's just like, what's going on? So I explained it to him, and he goes, and here was the key. And now you can turn it off, right? I was like, yes, we'll switch to my computer. He was, it's a little bit creepy. It's supposed to be getting better, but there have
Yeah.
been plenty of other stories in the world of AVP. So I figured we'd talk about those a little bit.
Okay.
Um, and the first one was the return rate because a
Yeah.
lot of people are saying, oh, you know, every single person's going to return these. They just wanted them for 2 weeks. Well, they did get some returns, I'm
Hmm.
guessing, for people that just couldn't afford it, or some people just don't like it. It's not a
Or it
good
didn't
fit
work
for
for
them.
them, you know.
Yeah, yeah, because I was saying if I'm not using it every day, I'm not going to keep this thing. This is not a piece of technology to let gather dust in the corner.
Hmm.
But if it becomes part of my life, it's worth keeping. But I had an article from 9 to 5 Mac, and most of the reports I saw was that it was maybe slightly higher than normal return rates on a new product, but it wasn't a massive thing. But Mark Gurman from Bloomberg, who gets a lot of insights, I still believe the conspiracy theory that he is a child of Steve Jobs, and
Oh,
that's why he has been set up for life with insider information from Apple. But
interesting.
I
I wonder what his
cannot
parents think
confirm
about
that.
that theory.
Yes, exactly. But Gurman also spoke
Oh,
to more than a dozen people who returned their units. And while that's a very small sample, he said that many of them cited one or more of the same
whoops.
5 reasons. So more than a dozen, and they had the same 5 reasons. People said it's too heavy, too cumbersome to manage, headache inducing, and uncomfortable. I notice it while I'm wearing it for long periods of time,
Hmm.
but I would never say any of those things for me. And I know everybody's head is
And are you
different on
using
that.
the comfort strap or the pro strap?
I've gone back to just the default single strap. I was using the head strap for a while, but this the dual strap uh, feels a little better after a long amount of time. But this, I've got it where the key is pushing it up on my
Yeah.
head at least, because I've got a good ledge there that balances some of the weight.
Well, and a quick sidestep. I've seen
Yeah.
some people who have 3D printed connectors so that they can attach that strap to their MetaQuests. And they're like, oh, this is
Yeah.
great because the MetaQuest is lighter. And with the
Yes.
Apple's well-engineered strap that takes advantage of a large portion of your back
Huh.
of your head, they're like, it's the match made in heaven.
Oh, and we've got some more comments. Producer Todd, I don't know why Nate's internet connection has such a hard time with streaming. The audio is always good, but the video is always janky. And we have no idea either
Hmm.
because I have extremely fast internet. I'm wired in Ethernet, and there's nothing else using the network on my computer. Now my daughter is downstairs
Yeah.
using FaceTime and playing Roblox.
And we
So
think,
blame Isla.
well, and I was like, well, it could be me, but right now my CPU usage is 11%.
Wow.
Frames, frame rates, solid 30 frames per second. Uh, I mean, it
Yeah.
takes 9 milliseconds to render a frame. There's been 16 skipped frames out of 128,000.
Yeah.
So it seems like everything's good on my end.
And
But
everything should be good on my end. It is one of the great mysteries
yeah,
of the. Ooh, and I can even
yeah.
see my glitchiness there.
Maybe
Maybe
you
because I
shouldn't
opened up
move.
Activity Monitor.
Yeah.
I will
It's
stay perfectly still.
it could be something with OBS because oftentimes my preview of you through OBS Ninja, a little peek behind the scenes there
Mm.
of what we use, is oftentimes better than what's showing in the OBS preview. So maybe there's something with the OBS ingestion
Ooh.
type. I don't know. Is
If
that even a
only we
word?
knew some nerds that could take a look into
That's
that.
what we need.
But the other reason, back to the
Mm.
article, the other reasons, the current lack of applications and video content doesn't justify the price. Now, I would say I'll come back to that. The work features don't make people more productive than just using a normal external monitor with a Mac, and they're difficult to use for long periods. I disagree. For me, the displays have too much glare, the field of view is narrow, and the device causes eye strain and vision problems. I don't have that at all. The product can make users feel isolated from family and friends. Meaningful shared experiences don't exist yet. And I just don't use mine usually around other people. That's how I fix that.
Yeah. We
But
gotta we gotta address some things in the chat. One, how do you kick people off the chat? Mike
yes, yes.
Peterson, maybe you should try using a Windows PC. Bring
Funny
it.
you should say that, Mike. We literally, before we started recording, I said, you know what? I'm thinking about maybe doing my video streaming through my Windows
You did?
PC,
Yeah.
so it would be a separate
Stay
computer. So
tuned.
for you, Mike, next
Yeah.
week, I will not do it mid-show. Did not have time before the show, but I
Yeah.
am going to get it set up on my PC so it can be dedicated video streaming console
Yes.
controller
And
superstation.
and you probably have a sick gaming rig with an NVIDIA 909090 in there. Um,
Not quite.
Also, uh, producer Todd says that he loves Nate's impression of
Oh,
Apple
yes.
haters. I think I missed it. Can you do that again?
I forget which one it was that it was probably my grumpy, sarcastic sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Chris Kent said that's a different podcast for the Windows PC.
Yeah.
Hey, I understand Windows PCs exist. I used to have two of them under my desk. I currently have one. I
I've got
finally
one
got
back
rid of
there
the
that's
old.
unplugged holding some headphones.
Yes, yeah, it's running Windows 11, I believe. So I do use Windows.
Hmm.
Just prefer the Apple operating system. But I was going to go back to the current lack of applications because our next link that I had, that it came out this past week that there's now over 1,000 native apps for Vision Pro. Now,
1,000.
I've tried some of these apps and they basically just add some 3D elements in them, but apparently from what I've heard there are more apps for Vision Pro now than there are for the Quest 3. Which
Oh,
is pretty interesting.
this is
But
the power of Apple.
and all the iPad apps that you can use with it. But one of the things that I've been thinking about, because it is such a different, I mean, there's similar features on the Quest 3, but just the interaction, not having the default controllers and that kind of stuff. I think we haven't even started to see the right kind of application for Vision Pro. I think developers are working on that stuff and trying stuff out. But like for games, for instance, people are like, "Oh well, on the Quest, you've got oh, there's my Apple hater voice. You've got the controllers, so you can do all this fine gaming stuff." And I found it, Todd, for you. But I think with the Vision Pro, just using the eye tracking and the hand movements, I think that we're just at the infancy stage of seeing this. And much like the original iPhone app store, which I've seen some discussion on, where it was like the fart app, the beer app, the Zippo app, and eBay were like the original apps in the app store, and see how far we've come on that. But of course, everything I've said about the Vision Pro is also me personally using my bias and defending the fact that I
Yeah.
bought one.
Well,
But I am truly enjoying it.
and not to steal your segues, but what you're saying is that we've merely scratched the surface of what to expect with Vision Pro
Oh,
software.
oh.
And speaking of scratching the surface, the
And speaking of iFart, we have Crackgate, as I
yeah,
have started, which I haven't seen anybody call it that yet, which there's always got to be a gate with
yeah,
new Apple devices. But yeah, there's this started kind of going around on Reddit. I saw people talking about it. Some people have been trying to find more people with the issue, but their Apple Vision Pro is getting a hairline little crack right up the middle of the glass.
hmm.
And I've seen a bunch of different people talking about what they think it might be, that it
What
could
is this?
be,
The G4 Cube?
yes, heat with the charging, or if you're wearing it too tight. I mean, the way the glass curves
Yeah.
and just the way this thing's made, that it's just would be a very easy stress point.
Hmm.
So it could be a combination of different things. Again, I think the people that have really been looking into it have found like a dozen of them out of 200,000. My hope is that Apple will help these people out in
Oh,
getting that
sure.
fixed,
I mean,
um,
absolutely. Yeah,
especially this
this is
early
a
in a new product.
you've got the 1 year warranty from
Yeah.
manufacturer's defects, and so it's clearly a defect if more than
Yes,
one
unless they
person
can.
has it.
Yeah, it's got to be that it perfectly happens like that.
Hmm.
It's not a drop or anything else. But just looking at my own, the way that it's built, I mean, that is just right in the middle there because you've got a curved edge, you've got the indent up.
Hmm.
Um, oh, you can see it's got
Some
see
sensor,
see yeah, one of the sensors is trying to sense things.
as they do.
As sensors tend to do, even though I'm not wearing the thing. But yeah, so that is
Hmm.
an interesting one. And then um, just yesterday and today, I started seeing this. Somebody estimated the build price.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and so people are trying to say, oh, why is it so expensive? The components only cost $1,500.
That's always the stupidest argument.
It is. For one, the list that I don't know if it's on this article. I was seeing somewhere that somebody kind of had the breakdown of what the pricing was, and it seemed like it didn't have the battery listed, the cable, the case, the cover, the cloth. It was missing a bunch of stuff. But also somebody in business, a business expert on X today was saying that, a lot of times build price to retail price is like 5x. So this is actually a steal compared to, just kind of general
Yeah.
practices for markup. But they spent 10 years and billions of dollars in research and
Yeah.
development, that little thing, marketing,
Yeah. You ever
packaging,
heard of
storage,
research?
transportation.
And
And one of the other things, the Sony, the inside, the super high quality small screens that are in there, I've heard that those have a very low yield rate. So while it costs, $500 for those two screens, whatever the breakdown was, they might be having to buy, five of them to get two good ones just because,
hmm.
they want the highest quality.
Yeah.
And man, I am jumpy. What is going
Well,
on with my video?
I don't know.
Next week, I'll have that PC on there.
And like I said, it could be on my end because my preview is usually much better, but it's still a little chunky. But by the time it gets
Yes.
to OBS, it's even more chunky.
Yes, yes.
So,
Well, I think that's any other thoughts you have on the AVP? Anybody in the chat have any questions?
one, just you gotta stop calling it that because I keep thinking of the Aliens franchise.
Versus pres
Yeah,
A I'll call it A versus P. Vision Pro, I don't need to call it the Apple. I
yeah,
should just call it the Vision. That's what we should just call it, because it's the only one. There's not a Pro and a normal model, and we know it comes from Apple, so it's the Vision.
Well, I just call it the Vision Pro because I mean, there's only 2
Which
syllables
reminds me, I need to get
or
out my
3.
Vision streetwear shirt to wear with my Apple Vision Pro.
Like
Ooh.
it's reflective.
Vision Streetwear. It was a 80s and 90s skateboard brand that
Oh,
I have a shirt of, and also a fanny pack. Oh man, I'm
considering
gonna
I
have to
grew up
start doing that.
in the country and we had a 25-foot
Oh,
strip of sidewalk that went to
yes.
a dead end
There
into
wasn't a lot
dirt.
of skateboarding going
Not
on.
a lot, not a lot.
Not a lot. But yeah, so I think that's kind of it. Kind of our plan is to pick a bigger topic, borrow from the Mark and Toddcast if
Mm.
we may, but have a bigger topic at the beginning and then get into some of our typical news and tips and stuff.
They do it a
So
different way. They do all the banter at the
yes,
beginning
they
and
do
then
it the reverse,
yeah,
and maybe we'll do that.
we'll
We're
see
going to
which
play
ways
around with the format a little bit,
see
but
which one's better.
if you have topics that you would like us to talk about and dive a little deeper in, sometimes like with the Vision Pro, it's new, it's in the news a lot. It's easy to get something, and there's other stuff like AI we kind of did last week
Hmm.
after I was at Social Media Marketing World.
Wait, say that again.
Social Media Marketing World. You put some echo on me.
Yeah.
Very
Um,
nice.
yeah, I had a really clever comment, but I cannot remember what it was. And producer Todd says you should steal the Mark and Toddcast segment, just the headlines. We should do
Oh,
that.
oh, we
No,
should. We will get there.
and I remember what I was going to say that
Yeah.
I'm going to give all of our listener slash viewers homework to listen to the Mark and Todd cast and the Not Nerd podcast and tell us why you prefer the Not Nerd podcast.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes. That was perfect. Well, you know what I prefer,
what's that?
and they haven't stole this one yet. Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
By the way, Mark and Todd, I am available if you want to pipe me in for a pro tip of the week, and then I can cut right
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Um,
Portland Pro Tip. You can
yeah,
pick it up.
like, yeah, yeah. Don't go outside. That's my pro tip.
Yeah.
So here we go. I got some I got some texts here from work from people who are doing a thing, and I don't really care. But like many things in life, guess what? They figured it out, so they
Whew.
didn't need me.
That's
So
the
that's a
best
pro
part of
tip.
IT when you wait long enough for somebody to solve it on their own. That's my
Yeah,
whole mission
that's how
statement
you
for my
make all your
business.
money.
Yeah,
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 I'll be there. Give me an hour.
yeah.
20 minutes later. Oh, I figured it out. There's your pro
Oh,
tip.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, so this this is just a quick and dirty, and I'm gonna try to find. Um, yeah, I needed to find some examples so that I
Uh,
don't uh,
Reveal
narc myself.
confidential
What is that?
information.
Swat myself? What is the
Swat
term? I
yourself.
can't remember the term. Okay, so I'll get to the tip. So let's say you are using your iPhone or iPad and you run into a snag. Let's say it's Facebook. I mean, we probably shouldn't be running Facebook on any of our devices because it's so bloated and it's big and they steal all your information. But I realize it's very convenient. But it is so big and cumbersome that sometimes it'll just lock up or
Yeah.
it can lock up other apps, is my theory. I don't know this for sure. But you're like, well, what do I do? I can restart my phone. Like, how do I get out of this? Well, there's a quick and simple solution that some people may not know. If
Yes.
you are in an app, and you're probably familiar with this screen, if you can swipe up and then you can kind of see different cards of other apps and you can switch to other apps very quickly that way. Well, through the magic of swiping, I got to frame it better here. You can just swipe up. That kills the app. The app is gone.
Yes.
If I relaunch it, it's just like force quitting it on your computer. And so
Yes.
here I'm in music, Mantic Monday by the Bengals. I was enjoying that earlier today. Boom, gone.
Now, now, Dave, I'm going to ask you something because I may or may not have interacted with somebody who was confused how this worked.
Right.
Can you make sure, show us again how you swipe up from I'm going to see if
Yeah.
from the bottom, how
Yeah.
it works, because there's been other swipes over the years.
There
So make
are.
sure we can see the bottom
Let's cover
of
the
your screen there.
swipes real quick. If you swipe from the upper left-hand side
That would
down,
be the upper
you're going to get
right.
your, or I'm sorry, your, I'm backwards. The upper
Yes.
right-hand side, you get control center. If you, and so let me make sure I don't narc myself here. Um, so you can also do on this side your uh, notifications
Yes.
on the right side, left side, left side,
Left side. Yeah.
right side control center, left side, and it works kind of in the middle too,
Yes. Yeah.
But
You
that's
you have
how,
to be really far on the right
yeah,
for control
control.
center, and most of the rest of the
Yeah.
screen will do the notifications.
Well, then from the bottom, if you want to get back to your home, you can swipe all the way up. And I'm
Yes.
out of the app. I'm back home. So what you have to do to get to what I was talking about is you swipe part of the way up and then let go. And it
Yes.
snaps into this card view. And that's where you would swipe up to kill the apps.
Now, I wasn't going to narc him out as our current term, but Wes did chime in.
Oh,
Haha, that was me. I just learned that tip. A great tip to know. So, one of the other things, so if you swipe straight up, it'll kind of take you there. But if you also swipe kind of up and to the left, I
mm,
guess it's kind of the same function now. And I'm going to give the antithesis tip on this.
oh,
You
antithesis. Yeah.
antithesis. You don't have to. I still see people all the time that religiously close all their apps. Like, I've
Hmm.
seen people while I'm sitting at the marathon DJ and I'm bored and I'm watching somebody on their phone, and they like open an app, they close the app, and then they do this to quit the app. Apple has gotten so much better with memory management now that you don't usually have to do this. The only reason you really need to force quit an app is if it
It's if it's
is,
hanging. Yeah.
yeah, hanging or not doing something right.
Well,
So,
and since we're on this topic, one of the things that you can do that some people may not know, and this might be a real pro tip,
mm,
is that you can swipe away more than one at a time.
oh yes,
It's going to be hard to do backwards.
hard to do backwards. Oh,
Oh, no. Well,
there you,
yeah, there we go. There
there
I
you
got
go.
two of them.
Woo!
Boom, gone. So on an iPad, you can, as many fingers as you have, you can do that as well. So,
Yes, yes. And thank you, Chris, for he said he uses that to switch apps quickly, and then he said, I think it's pronounced, and he spelled it out. So
yeah,
very helpful in your
thanks.
pronunciation help there.
Yeah, and
That is
antithesis.
that is great. But that
Antithesis.
is a good tip. And some of those things that we take for granted and that have changed drastically
Hmm.
over the years, like when the home button went away, all
My
that
mom,
stuff.
she broke her iPad. The charging connector's just broken. I can't get it to work. So we bought her a new one, and she actually had access to one. It's up here. Let me grab it real quick since I can. She had access to this one,
Oh
but
yeah.
it doesn't have cellular. She needs cellular because she lives out in the boondocks. Um, but this one, if I can figure out how to turn it on, is the swipey kind. There's no button. See?
Oh yeah.
There's no button there.
Yeah. The
Uh,
iPads without the home button.
and so
Yeah.
instead, since I had to buy another one anyway because it didn't have cellular, uh, I got her the ninth generation one that still has the button. That way she doesn't
Oh,
have to.
yeah. No, those ones are still really popular because there are people that, for the life of them, do not want to give up the home
Hmm.
button.
Yeah.
Uh,
The most
so,
helpful comment section on YouTube.
yes,
Thanks,
yes.
Chris.
Thank
In
you,
part
Chris,
to
for that.
you.
Yes, yes. Well, with that, we will reward you, Chris, because it's time for everyone's favorite segment, Just the Headlines.
Oh, I should
And do
switch cameras too. Yeah. No. There we
no
go. Oh, in fact, we're going to switch to the driveway cam.
driveway cam. Let's take it outside. A nice, cool winter's
Oh,
eve.
so cool. I hate it.
At 43 degrees currently, so
How,
not
how am I
super
supposed to go
cold, but
outside and enjoy a nice, tasty cigar in weather like
yes,
this? Come
I
on, Mother
I don't
Nature.
know. A covered porch you have though,
Yeah,
but
but it's still cold.
yes, no activity out there. So let us get to just the headlines. Apple upgrades iMessage with PQ3 quantum computer resistant encryption
Of
protocol.
course. Of course they did. AT&T will issue a $5 reimbursement for their 12-hour outage.
Generous. Doom is now playable on a $2,000+ lawnmower because why not?
That is nuts. Man in backyard talks to orbiting astronaut using homemade antenna.
Whew,
If you believe in
well,
astronauts.
yes. Speaking of, NASA streams cat video from deep space.
I have so many questions about that. Apple cancels plans to build an electric car that they never announced that they were
Again?
building again.
Yes. And last but not least, Wendy's planning Uber-style surge pricing where burger prices fluctuate based on demand.
Where's the beef? Not in my stomach.
Oh, ridiculous. And those are just the headlines. And you can always find the actual stories and figure out what those headlines mean
Yeah.
via the show notes at notnerd.com.
Yeah, we do this because there's so much news that happens.
Oh,
We figured if you're interested, go click in the show notes and you can read all
yeah.
these articles without
And I
us.
don't want to try to learn what PQ3 quantum computer resistant encryption protocol is,
Well,
so
I
I
already.
just read the headline and move on.
That's right.
Uh,
You read just the headlines.
okay, well, now that we're done with just the headlines, let's move on to our takes of the week. And oh my, this first one, I am going to start off by reminding people, it's been a while since we've said it, that we are the most nonpartisan tech podcast on the internet.
True.
And this one, again, usually these stories, I don't believe they're partisan, but some might. But Google's Gemini, I think it was just last week, we announced that they had changed the name of Bard to Gemini because that's what Google does is they change names, which is their AI chatbot with image generation. Well, people started playing with the image generation and they found that it was very difficult, no matter which prompt you put in, to create photos with people in them that were of a European complexion,
Okay.
if I may. So you could put in, build me a picture of the Pope, and it might be a nice African American man and a
White
lady from
robes.
India,
Okay.
and or a hockey team, and it is a very multicultural,
Yeah.
diverse
Someone with
hockey
a
team.
darker complexion. Yeah.
Yes. So uh, basically, people were trying all kinds of different things, and it just was not very accurate to what you would want in a lot of situations. So, do you like my politically correct avoidant speech
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Um,
And to define want is that it's returning a result that you didn't expect.
yes.
Not that it's bad.
No, it might not just be accurate in like, a king in the 1600s, the king of England in the 1600s,
Yeah.
you would expect somebody, uh, a white person that would be a king then, and it would often not do that type of thing. So there was
Mhm.
a huge backlash
It
on
seems like it's
this.
overcompensating.
It
This-
is,
yeah.
yes. Their algorithm has some stuff built into it, which is overcompensating. That's a good way to put it. So Google actually had to uh, pull the image generation. Well, then people started playing with the text generation, and they found that there was some extreme biases.
Mm.
Like you could put, I think one of the ones that I saw was somebody typed in, what has been more harmful to humanity, Elon Musk's tweets or Hitler's actions? And it would come back and say this, well, this is a very complex topic. Many people would believe that both of these people have created harm. Um, And it's just like,
How many millions?
okay.
Okay.
But there's a lot of examples for this, and they're getting a lot of flack on this. Now, one of the interesting things I learned at Social Media Marketing World is that Google, there was a paper released by Google in several years ago that had some modeling for transformers, which is actually what AI has been built on. Yes, Optimus Prime. But this
Roll
formula,
on. Sorry, go on, go on, go on.
I was a GoBot guy. They were cheaper. Um,
I had both.
yes. But pretty much the whole structure of how the current AI bots. So somebody at Google released that paper. They didn't really realize it at the time. They also have access to the most data of any company naturally through Google search,
Yeah,
all the crawling they
they
do there,
s- they sniff all
YouTube,
the traffic on the internet.
the billions of hours of video they have there that they can analyze, all this stuff that Google has, and they kind of missed the boat
Hmm.
on AI. And then when they kind of launch their latest and greatest, everybody starts looking at it and goes, I mean, what I want in AI is to get accurate and unbiased information when I ask it a question, and it
Mm-hmm.
seems like Google has gone very much in the
Well,
wrong one direction of that.
not not affiliated with the band,
The band,
but one of the great promises of AI and computer learning is that it has this opportunity to be unbiased, which is something that a human could never be. You were talking about your bias towards the Vision Pro since you dropped
yeah,
3,500 bucks
yeah,
on the thing. I mean, you're obviously biased towards the benefits of that product because you decided not to send it back
yes,
or to buy it in the first place. But computers have the opportunity to be completely unbiased. You just give them accurate info and they can spit out
yes,
unbiased information. So I hope that someday we can arrive at that, but it's
yes.
probably not possible since people are the ones responsible for generating the
Yes,
information.
I was going to say there's still humans involved
Yeah.
at this point, but yeah, and Google has had issues in the past where they choose what they're going to show in their search results, and there is
Hmm.
um, people that make decisions on that,
And
and
the
they have
bias is
been.
usually whoever pays the most gets
Yeah,
the top of
well,
the.
yes, there is that. And ChatGPT has had similar issues with, people have been able to find these biases that where it's like, well, come on now, this this could be better. So
Yeah.
I hope with this Google gets a good wake up and works hard. They said we're working hard to fix the issues that we've found in our chatbot.
Mm.
So and Wes says, careful, AI could be listening. True, it's training itself off this
Hmm.
so that maybe our information in the
Well,
future will be used to create a better Google Gemini.
well, now it knows that it's possible that it could be perceived as being unbiased, and so it's going to trick everybody into thinking that it's unbiased because now it knows that's what we expect of it.
Yes, yes, or
All
it will.
all to kill us in the end.
Yes, it will be unbiased on the things people have realized so far that it needs to be better on. Well, and I mentioned ChatGPT, our next story. ChatGPT goes temporarily insane with its unexpected outputs, spooking users. In this article from Ars Technica, um, and the subline Reddit user says it's not just you. ChatGPT is having a stroke, and just bizarre stuff. Like here's Honey Nut Cheerios in very small amounts are unlikely to be harmful to most dogs, but they are not the ideal snack for your pet. Here's a few reasons, and then it goes into stuff with all the. But there was some really just gibberish stuff that was coming through there. Oh, here it is. If you get into like the sixth slide, it says, "To the beam air in dower, it's fit to the noon of weed yeed. Feel like to put forth more info lines or to hone in on any phrase or deft about the." Yeah,
Weird.
yeah. So
To the beam.
to the
You?
beam. But man, that's these
Phew.
AI things, it's still their early stages, and they have got some stuff to work out. Well, but circling back to Apple, last week,
Yeah.
I think it was actually, it might have been Wednesday, the day we recorded, they released a new app, the Apple Sports app.
Yeah, and we're sorry we
Uh,
didn't talk about that last
yeah,
week.
I
I actually
totally,
fired it up.
yeah. Um, and it's a very simple app. Now, some people are upset that it has betting odds in there. It's from one of the big
Yeah,
online betting sites. People don't like that, but I believe in somewhere in the settings you can turn that off, but it is on by default.
that is a little
But
strange.
I do like it currently. I mean, it doesn't have any ads. It's very fast. When they were developing it, one of the guys at Apple, one of the big VPs, was like, "I want it to be as real time as possible. So if I'm sitting courtside at the basketball game, I can have it open and I can be getting stats in real time." And I
Yeah.
did notice Saturday night when I was going to DJ, there was the first Portland Timbers home game, and so I like to get down to DJ just before the game ends so that I can get set up, and when the masses arrive and
Mm,
people are out
you're
in the
ready to go.
streets, that I'm all ready to go. And it was right on. So currently they have active sports. They haven't added baseball or football, but they aren't in season. And I'm sure they'll continue. But it is a very nice, like I had the ESPN app before, and it was always like 5 clicks, or I'd go to Google and search and try to find the live score updates. But if you've got an iPhone, download the Apple Sports app. It's free if you like to know sports scores or stats. But
And you can earmark or bookmark the sports
yeah,
teams that you like and just show your favorites. I did that today,
yes,
and K-State was playing some West Virginia. Like, these? How did we get into West Virginia? Don't even
yes,
know about these. The Big 900 now they call it with all
oh
the
yes,
teams. But anyway, and then the previous day, the Trailblazers had played a game, and
yeah.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Uh,
No,
oh yeah, go ahead.
Mike chimes in. Spring training has started for baseball,
Mm,
so I am sure that they will be getting baseball fired up in there very quickly
yeah,
since they do have some baseball rights, and that makes sense.
and I have
So,
a coworker. She and her family flew down to Texas or somewhere to watch spring training. They're big into
yeah,
baseball in their family.
yes, yes. As is Mike. Well, next up, also didn't get to it last week. I was just out of whack from traveling and all that stuff.
Where were you at?
I was at social media marketing world.
Yeah, you were.
But I didn't. I had it on the show notes last week and skipped over it. But it was, and the aptly are titled Fat Patch Tuesday, February 2024 edition for Microsoft's Patch Tuesday. And they push software updates to plug more than 70 security holes in its Windows operating systems and related products, including 2 zero-day vulnerabilities that are
Nice.
already being exploited in active attacks.
70. Here's the thing.
70
You might think, well, 70 patches is not that many. Every month, people.
every month.
Every
And
month.
that's almost a light month for them. I mean, I wonder what the lowest they've ever had in a month. I'm sure somebody tracks that. But Krebs on security for reporting that. But just a great reminder, keep all your devices updated so that you are not being vulnerable.
And check into this new thing, came out about 50 years ago, called two-factor authentication.
Yes, yes, a great tip. In this next one you found, I saw it a couple places, but vending machine error reveals secret face image database of college students.
Yeah, this is why this is bad. I read through the article and
This is why this is bad.
I'll give you the Reader's Digest version, and I hope that it's accurate. If not, read the article for all the details. But I believe it was in Canada at a university. An error message came up, and I think it's on. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
The encryption unknown software exception something occurred in the application located, whatever. But at the top it says Vending facial recognition app.exe. So one, they're
Yes.
running Windows on their
Oh my goodness.
vending machine. There's one problem. Sorry, Mike. Uh, Regardless, the vending machine has a camera. This was corroborated with the company on a university campus that will do facial recognition on anybody who uses the vending machine. They say it all stays local within the machine and then sends back non.
Yeah, an individual person cannot be
Yeah.
identified.
So they're apparently doing this for marketing purposes so they can see the gender of the person or if it was an older person or a younger person, the demographics of all these people. But at the same time, this is a third party company putting cameras on a college campus without the knowledge of the students or other people, faculty,
Yeah.
who are using these machines. And the university didn't even know about it. I mean, they knew about the vending machines, but not about the
Yes.
cameras. So come on, people. They claim they've done nothing wrong, but whew, that's pretty bad.
Yes. Yes. I agree. Just ridiculous. You never know where that stuff is. There's some article I was looking at where it just talks about all the different grocery stores and if
Hmm.
whether or not they're using any face recognition and
Well,
that type of stuff.
and I mean, that's their prerogative. It's their space, it's their stuff, but they would not like it if a third party came in and started
Yes.
putting up cameras everywhere to get analytics on their customers. That seems
Yes.
beyond the pale. Beyond.
Beyond the pale. Well, let us cleanse our palate with the bonus odd take.
Hold on.
And
What is that we're doing?
oh, the bonus odd take. There it
I
is.
just needed the sounder. Yeah.
Yes. And this, we had Santris, was that a couple weeks ago for our
Yeah.
bonus odd take? But this one is a faithful recreation of the Electronica 60 original that Alexei Pajnitov created Tetris on. So it's the
Yeah.
exact way in 1984 how it looked and sounded on a
It's not
something
working for me.
Russian with some numbers terminal that's hooked up to Electronica 60 mainframe. So
And
they made this.
I could and
Yeah.
watch the movie Tetris from Alexei
Oh
for
yeah,
that
yeah,
shows
on
Alexei.
Apple TV. But yeah, you go in there and it is ASCII built. Dave's isn't loading there, but yeah, if you want to play some old school original Tetris,
I'm turning off all my ad blockers to
that's
see
probably it.
if that fixes it. So let me refresh
Turn
it one
on
more
your
time.
facial recognition.
Yeah. Oh, it was one
There
of
it
them.
is.
Look at that. So this is a recreation of exactly what Tetris used to be. And if you watch
Yeah.
the movie, uh, not really a spoiler since it's a docu series, but or docudrama, but Nintendo came in and put it on their Game Boy,
Yeah.
and they of course made the graphics a little bit better.
Slightly better, slightly.
But all the rules are
Uh,
there. You can do.
yeah,
Now I can't drop. It goes slow. The dropping
yeah,
fast came in later. But here I'm going to get a
yes.
Tetris. If you're patient and watch, here it goes. Highest score ever. Da-da-da-da.
Boom,
So
line cleared.
there you go. Pretty
Very
cool.
nice. So you can go check that out. It's just a fun, another little variation on Tetris, going back to the original.
Hmm.
But you know what else is always fun? Our picks of the week.
I got the echo on that one.
Nice.
Is it maybe it doesn't count since I pointed it out. Uh so can I get can I get someone to raise their hands who are Xbox fans out there? Anybody?
Oh,
Anyone? I
well,
got
uh, a lot of people are because PlayStation laid off 900 people today. That one didn't make it into the show notes, but
yikes.
yes,
That's a lot of people. I did not see
yes.
that. So Xbox, they make this little machine that I got up there. It's pretty nice. I got another one out there, and I guess I have another one at work. But I digress. The They released a game a few months ago, probably 6 months ago at this point, called Starfield, and it was the big Starfield is coming. It's going to be the best space game ever. You can fly spaceships and visit planets and stuff. it's been done before, but this
Yes.
is apparently supposed to be the biggest deal. But what I really enjoyed about this game, I haven't purchased it or played it yet because I'm the type of guy that waits for the sales, and it's not even on
Yes.
sale yet. But what was on sale at sale price, I will explain. They released a Starfield controller. So
Oh,
an Xbox controller. Now this is a special edition too, but they typically look like this,
yeah.
Or no, that's not one. Hold on. I just want to give you the. So this is just like a typical run of the
Yeah.
mill guy
Yeah.
right there. So they had a special Starfield controller, and I really wanted it, but it was limited quantity. You had to be right in. You had to buy it, and then for the and actually it's been more than 6 months. It's probably been a year or so since they released this game, but you couldn't get it, and then people put it on eBay and it cost like $150, and the normal price for those controllers is about $70, and I think it had a special price of $79. But I mean, right now I could go on Amazon and buy, I think, a new one for about 120 bucks, and I was just like, I don't want it that bad. And I was looking into getting face plates to replace on mine
Oh,
to make
yeah.
it kind of look like it, and then you can also go to the design labs and design your own controller, but I couldn't.
Wow.
They don't have the colors. So I went to Facebook Marketplace, and
Oh,
I kind of troll that place occasionally. And I know I need to
yeah.
get on to my pick of the week, but I found at cost a uh, opened, what is it? It's not new in
Open
box,
box.
an open box but new whatever Starfield controller. There it is. Look at
Oh.
this. Come on. Apple
FaceTime's giving it a
recognized its
thumbs
Xbox from
down.
Microsoft and
Yes.
gave me the thumbs
That's
down.
awesome.
You
Yes, I
jerks.
don't know if that came through in the live stream, but yes. Oh, I'm watching the
Give me a
live
thumbs
stream.
down.
Yep, it showed up on the live stream. Perfect. The thumb down arrow when he holds up an Xbox controller. That's wild.
So here's the inside of the box. It's got all this marking and stuff. So the box itself is a piece of art. It's got the nice Starfield logo, which is very
Wow.
kind of retro-y. It shows you the front and back side on the back of the box with all the stuff. And in its full glory, maybe used 2 times, the guy said. There it is. Look at how
Ooh.
beautiful. Now, okay, so we've got you hold it up to a child. Timmy, do you want to play
Man.
with this one? Gross.
Plain
Throw it in the
black controller?
trash.
Come on.
Or do you want the Starfield one with the
Phew.
gold thing with the rainbowy deal with the red back? Oh, and this is the piece de resistance. The see-through
Ooh.
trigger buttons. They're clear.
My
Yeah.
goodness.
So for the price of for $5 more than a regular controller, I
You
got
got a
that beauty.
super limited edition,
Super
super
limited.
cool.
Anyway, I love
Nice.
it. And
Very
honestly,
cool.
I got it recent enough and I was gone this weekend. I have not even tried it to see if it
Ooh.
works. But you know what?
Wow.
I don't really care. Because if it doesn't work, I will take the insides of another controller and put it in there and make it
Put
work.
it in there.
I'm not concerned
Just
about it.
frame it and put it on your wall
Yeah, but
somewhere.
man, look at that. I mean,
That is
that
a
is
very cool controller.
nice. So there we are.
Well,
That's my
nice.
pick.
Well, for my pick of the week, what are the chances I also picked a gaming controller?
Is it the
No, I
one? Is it
didn't.
the Starfield controller?
It is the Starfield.
You don't
I
even
bought
have
it
an
from the
Xbox.
same guy. I think he bought them on Temu and he's reselling them. No, so I don't know if people know this, but seed oils, corn oils, soy oils, that stuff isn't really great for you.
Yeah.
People are starting to admit. And I like cooking. I also like meat. And
Oh.
so I'm going a little off pick this week. But this is something that I purchased on Amazon. It is Wagyu beef tallow.
Oh, yeah.
So beef
Give me
tallow
some
used to be
tallow.
very common. Like McDonald's used to cook their French fries in it. Now they use some who
And,
knows what it
and
is.
there's a story on that. I'm sorry to do a
Yeah,
sidestep on your pick. You
sidestep.
haven't even said it. they had to, like, when the big fat scare and all this happened back in the
Yes.
whenevers, they spent an inordinate amount of money, time, and research to get vegetable oil to behave in a way that the beef tallow automatically did. It
Yes.
it's like the Simpsons episode where they're trying to engineer a toilet to flush the other way down in Australia, the American way.
Yes.
Just just use beef tallow, people. Bring it
Yeah.
back. Make it
Yes.
easier. But
It
but
is
go
so
on.
much better for you,
Yeah.
and especially it's got a high smoke point, all this stuff. So
But now
this
it's vegan,
is,
so the fries, so
yes, 42 ounce tub of Wagyu, which is, the fancy meat, beef
Japanese.
tallow, and it comes from the South Chicago packing plant. But for 42 ounces of this, it is currently $30. I might have paid a little bit. I bought this January a year ago, so I've had it just over a year, and I'm getting darn near the bottom of it. No, it's
So
not ice cream. I should try it chilled.
so it's like lard then.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of the old Crisco cans that we, speaking of vegetable oil growing up.
I thought it might
Um,
be um I thought it might be like a granulated like a salt, like
no,
MSG or something, but
it's
it's
like lard or butter
yeah,
that you would use to cook with.
I
So when
guess that
I'm
makes
cooking
sense
up
because
eggs or steak or whatever it is,
yeah.
just slap some in
So why
there.
don't they just call it fat instead of tallow?
Yeah. Well, and it does say ingredients: rendered Wagyu beef fat, but it is called beef tallow. I don't
Okay.
know the definition of tallow. But yeah, not our normal pick, but
Hmm.
I did buy it on Amazon, so you can go to notpicks.com and I'll have that up there. You can click through the link and get some much healthier cooking oil. Tallow is a rendered form of beef or mutton suet, primarily made up of triglycerides. Tallow made by rendering calf suet in industry. Oh, that sounds like an AI description there.
It probably is.
But really good for cooking, much better for you than the seed and
I
vegetable oils.
and I see here it's got naturally contains zero artificial trans fats or partially hydrogenated oils,
Yes,
pasture raised, sustainably and humanely sourced. Now
yes.
I bet the cow would disagree with that.
Well, yes, some people would disagree on that, but we are nonpartisan, so we will move on. We'll do the quick version since we already had it once. But with that, this would be the time of the Amazon purchase. But there was no new purchases this last week on our off of Not Picks with our Amazon affiliate link. So you guys need to get over there, Not Picks, find something to buy, or if you're just shopping on Amazon, click through there, help support the podcast without any extra cost to you besides the holistic cost.
Oh, hold on. What was that you said?
The holistic cost, we haven't done that one in a while,
I
of
couldn't find the button on my.
remembering to go to NotPicks instead of just going to Amazon.com.
Yeah,
So,
and I want to recognize Mike, who had said, "Have you tried the Elite Series controller for Xbox?" And no, Mike, I have not. I've thought about creating my own on the little create your own controller page, but they start at like $130 or something like that and go up from there. So I have refrained, but they've got little back pedals that you can pre-program to do different things. It kind of feels
oh,
like
wow.
cheating a little bit,
Yeah.
um, but anyway, I have
It's,
not. I'm
it's like the old Nintendo Max controller where it had the little
yeah, but I'm
turbo
very
buttons
happy
on there
with
back in the day.
my
Starfield.
Starfield controller. Look at that. I mean,
Beautiful.
look at it. Looks like
I'm
$1 million.
looking at it, which is a great reminder that if you normally listen to the podcast, check us out on YouTube. And while you're there, subscribe, ring the little bell so you'll be reminded when we go live on usually Tuesday nights at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes.
But thank you for everybody that joined us in live and for chatting with us. We love your feedback. We love your jokes. We love your ripping on us. But now it's time for everybody to get out there and tech better.
That is.
That got really loud.
Bye, everybody.
Sing.